Hi everyone, I'm your host Fiona. Today I'm excited to bring you expert insights on the topic that affects almost every teenager today: how social media shapes their psychological development. To guide us through this topic, I had the opportunity to interview Ryan Tsai, a rising third-year PhD student at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Ryan specialized in adolescent development with a focus on identity formation in the modern digital world. He uses tools like fMRI, self-report assessments, and advanced statistical modeling to explore how teens navigate their social environments. Although Ryan couldn't join us live, he kindly shared detailed thoughts on my interview questions, and I'll be sharing his insights with you throughout this episode. Let's start with the big question. Why is social media such a powerful force for teenagers? In this section, I had 3 questions for Ryan. First, from a psychological development perspective, why are adolescents especially sensitive to things like likes, comments, and online approval? According to Ryan, adolescence is a time of major cognitive, emotional, and biological changes. Teenagers are expanding their social circles, becoming more peer-focused, and are biologically more sensitive to social cues, thanks to changes triggered by puberty. That means things like likes, comments, and online approval hit differently when you're a teen. Social interactions play a key role in this identity development, with adolescents learning about themselves through comparisons, feedback, and engagement with others. Online interactions amplify this process, providing quantified, timely feedback and fundamentally altering social dynamics with features like asynchronicity, real-time engagement, visual content, and broader audience, further intensifying adolescents' attention to social responses. Adolescents are also starting to explore who they are, their identity, their uniqueness, and how they fit into groups. In real life, this happens through social feedback and peer interaction. But on social media, this is amplified. The feedback is immediate, immeasurable, and often public. It's not just a friend saying nice shirts, it's dozens of people liking your posts or commenting on your looks or opinions. That creates a loop of attention and comparison that is much more intense than an offline interaction. Second question I asked, how does social media impact a teenager's sense of identity or self-worth? As for identity and self-worth, Ryan says this is still an emerging research area. We don't yet fully understand how teens integrate their online and offline selves. Are they building a coherent identity, or are they switching between versions of themselves like real-life avatars? Many teens today manage multiple accounts, curating different images of themselves depending on the platform or audience. However, it's notable that compared to previous generations, adolescents today are more likely to switch between different online profiles and create avatars that align with their ideal self-image. And the third question will be, are there specific aspects of brain development that make teens more vulnerable to social media pressure? According to Ryan's response about brain development, adolescence is a period of rapid brain growth and significant structural and functional changes. The brain reshapes its connectivity to work more effectively. During adolescence, parts of the brains that respond to social information become especially active, while the areas responsible for self-control are still catching up. Regions related to self and others are still maturing, making the brain highly responsible to social experiences. This heightened sensitivity to social information makes adolescents particularly susceptible to the influence of social media. Although whether that influence is positive or negative is complex and varies. This imbalance can make teens highly motivated by social rewards like likes or followers, but less able to resist the urge to check their phone constantly or scroll endlessly. Now let's talk about the mental health side of all this. I also have 3 questions for Ryan here. Let's start with what are some common mental health issues linked to heavy social media use among teens? We often hear that social media is bad for teenagers, but Ryan emphasizes that the science isn't settled. Studies have shown mixed results, and it's hard to generalize because screen time can mean very different things. 3 hours spent doom scrolling TikTok is not the same as 3 hours video chatting with a friend or calling a parent, yet both are categorized the same in many studies. Next question I ask is how does peer comparison or FOMO affect teen emotions and behavior? We touched briefly on FOMO or the fear of missing out, while Ryan hasn't focused his research on this specifically. He notes that FOMO might be emotionally intense for some teens, but it can also be a space for learning, a chance to build emotional resilience and manage social expectation. The other question I was wondering is whether Ryan had come across any research or real-life cases where social media clearly affected a teen's psychological well-being. As for real-life examples for teens harmed or helped by social media, Ryan is careful not to generalize. But one thing he emphasized is the critical role of parents. He believed parents should talk openly with their children about social media, because what teens are exposed to can be unpredictable. Whether it's seeing harmful content or simply feeling inadequate, parental guidance can help teens process their experiences instead of going through it alone. So, what can be done? Here, I asked Ryan what can teenagers do to have a healthier relationship with social media. He doesn't believe there's a one-size-fits-all solution. Teens use social media in creative and diverse ways. One good goal is to keep it fun and safe at the same time. And he does think it's important for young people to talk about it with their friends, teachers, parents, or even partners. Feeling overwhelmed by social media isn't weird or weak. In fact, it's becoming a normal part of growing up in a digital world. And then I asked, should parents and teachers intervene in teens' social media use, and if so, how? Parents and teachers have a role to play. Ryan suggests that rather than controlling or policing social media, adults should create safe spaces for dialogue. Teens need to feel that they can talk honestly about their experiences, including the good, the bad, and the confusing. And for adults, it's important to recognize that the research is still evolving, so don't believe every headline, and don't expect to find the perfect parenting manual for digital life. Just like every teen is different, every parent-teen or teacher-teen relationship is unique. Also, Ryan thinks that it is important to put it into the part of our education, instead of letting students navigate through the process alone. Finally, we talk about government policies, like Australia's recent proposal to ban social media for users under 13 and required parental consent for teens up to age 16. I asked for Ryan's opinion and does he think whether these measures can actually help protect adolescents' mental health. And Ryan's take is complicated. While these policies aim to protect mental health, they could also unintentionally harm marginalized youth who rely on online communities for support and connection. Any regulation needs to consider the voice of young people themselves because they are the ones living this reality. To wrap up, I asked Ryan what he would say to a teenager feeling overwhelmed by social media. His response was simple but powerful. If you feel overwhelmed by social media, then you should listen to your voice. It's okay to stop using it when you're not feeling ready, and talking to others could be really helpful. I strongly agree with that. And this reminds me of something a friend of mine experienced. When she first entered a completely new environment, everything felt unfamiliar and overwhelming. Naturally, she turned to social media to look for answers. It's what most people do. But with algorithms feeding her an endless stream of suggestions, tips, opinions, and stories, she started to feel like she was drowning in noise. Some posts were helpful, others felt random or even trivial. Eventually, it got to a point where she could barely breathe. She was close to breaking down. So one day she decided to delete a few social media apps. She didn't expect much to change, but surprisingly, she started to feel lighter. She wasn't getting updates as quickly as others anymore, but she realized something important. Slowing down helped her feel more in control. It gave her the space to breathe, to think, and to just be herself. And after that, she told me, I might not have all the answers, but at least now I'm moving at my own pace. And that's been more grounding than anything I found online. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, know that it's okay to pause. You're not alone, and you deserve the space to reconnect with yourself, not just your feet. And that's for today's episode. I hope Ryan's insights gave you a deeper understanding of the complex and sometimes overwhelming relationship between teens and social media. If you're a teen, a parent, or an educator listening to this, just remember there's no perfect answer, but open conversations can go a long way. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.